Phones keep getting bigger and bigger, and sure, some people like that. But if you're someone who just wants a phone that actually fits your hand, let me reintroduce you to the iPhone 13 mini. I've been using mine for years, and here's why it's still my daily driver in 2025. Hello everyone, my name is Tobias and welcome to my first video. The iPhone 13 series came out in 2021. That's 4 years ago. And in 1 week when the 17 series comes out, 4 new iPhones ago. Normally that would make a phone feel outdated. But honestly, I think the iPhone 13 mini is still fantastic in 2025. If you want a small but fast and powerful phone, but you're worried the iPhone 13 mini or 12 mini are too slow or old, don't be. The 13 mini is fast. The cameras are phenomenal. The screen is great. It's definitely not too old. Yes, the newer phones, the 14, 15 and 16, all have slightly better cameras and faster chips. But most people won't notice those subtle changes, and none of them come in a smaller size. Apple hasn't made a mini since the 13 series, so this is still the best compact option, and I believe it's more than capable of being your daily driver for years to come. I've had the iPhone 13 mini for almost 4 years now, and I love this compact yet powerful phone. If you're looking for a compact phone in 2025, I definitely think this is the one. The only time Apple added a mini to their lineup was with the iPhone 12 and 13 series. None of those are sold as new phones anymore, and the 13 mini is their latest mini phone. Apple doesn't sell a smaller phone than 6 inches, so if you want the 13 mini, you have to buy it used. In Denmark, you can get the iPhone 13 mini refurbished but in good condition for what corresponds to around $300. Of course, the price will differ, but I think it's a good price for the phone you get. If you want either the 12 or 13 mini, I would definitely recommend the 13 mini as they improved the battery life a lot because it was pretty bad on the 12 mini. And the lowest amount of gigabyte you can get is 128, which is enough for most people. Now, let's talk about the one real weakness. Battery life. The battery is unfortunately where the iPhone 13 mini finds it hard to compete with other phones because it's smaller and therefore has a smaller battery. When I first got the phone, the battery life was good. On most days I didn't even worry about the battery life. I've written down that I experienced it could last for about 7 to 8 hours with mixed use, which is great. According to Apple, the battery can last up to 17 hours of video playback. The battery can be drained more easily if you take a lot of photos and videos and use navigation a lot. So when out traveling, you can drain the battery with only 4 hours of use. However, being out traveling with such a small phone is also super nice. So you just have to find out what's more important to you. However, that was when the phone was completely new with an original battery. Now, after almost 4 years, the maximum battery capacity for my phone is down to only 69%. And I definitely noticed that. I almost never go a day without charging my phone. So unless you don't use your phone that much, you should definitely make sure you get the iPhone 13 mini with an almost new battery. As long as the battery is new or recently replaced, it's not something you'll have to worry about. Another thing worth mentioning here is MagSafe, because a lot of iPhone people love MagSafe and almost refuse to buy phones that doesn't have MagSafe now. The iPhone 13 mini has full MagSafe support, which means you can use magnetic chargers, wallets, and even power banks that snap right onto the back. For a small iPhone with a smaller battery, MagSafe power banks can actually be a lifesaver when you're out and about. If you use your phone without a case, be aware that the 13 mini has a glossy back, which attracts a lot of fingerprints. It can be a little bit annoying, but most people use a case and don't notice anyway. The screen is a Super Retina XDR display. It has a 5.4-inch all-screen OLED display, and the resolution is 2340 by 1080 pixels, which gives it a PPI, or a pixels per inch, of 476, which is actually the highest PPI in the entire 13 lineup. The screen has a 60 Hz refresh rate, which isn't ideal for the standard of today's phones. However, even the iPhone 16 doesn't have a 120 Hz display. You have to buy a Pro to get that. The screen gets up to 800 nits of brightness, which is more than enough in almost every situation. It's only in direct sunlight that you might wish it could go a bit higher. And as for the color, this is the blue version, and honestly, I think it looks beautiful. Inside you get the A15 chip, which is still fast and perfectly capable in 2025. Sure, the iPhone 16 has the A18 and the 17 will launch with the A19 chip, but in daily use you really won't notice. And honestly, that's because the A15 chip is still incredibly powerful even by today's standards. In fact, it outperforms many mid-range Android phones being released in 2025. So in terms of performance longevity, you shouldn't worry. This chip still has years of life in it. It weighs only 141 grams and the dimensions are 131.5 by 64.2 by 7.65 millimeters. This is the iPhone 13 and 13 mini side by side. And as you can see, there's a pretty big size difference. The iPhone 13 has a 6.1 inch display, while the 13 mini's display is only 5.4 inches. Also, the iPhone 13 mini still uses the Lightning cable, while the iPhone 15 and 16 have moved to USB-C. It's not a huge deal if you already own Apple accessories, but it does mean you can't share the same cables as many modern devices use. Okay, so the cameras on the 13 mini are great. And the videos you see now is shot on the iPhone 13 mini to get an idea on how the cameras actually are. Okay, so first of all, both cameras on the back are 12 megapixels and can record up to 4K of 60 FPS video. But if you choose to shoot in cinematic mode, as I am right now, you'll only be able to shoot in 1080p with 30 FPS. But I think the cameras are still great, and since all the shots you're seeing right now are from this iPhone, you can judge for yourself. So, should you buy the iPhone 13 mini in 2025? If you want a small, compact, powerful phone, absolutely. It's fast, has solid cameras, and the form factor is unmatched. You can use it in one hand, it fits easily in your pocket, and it's still more than capable. But if you spend hours every day watching videos, scrolling social media, or need all-day battery, the 13 mini might not be for you. A larger phone will probably serve you better. But the most important takeaway from this video is just because the iPhone 13 mini came out 4 years ago doesn't mean it's outdated. If you're an average person who doesn't push their phone to the extreme, this little device can easily fulfill your daily needs. So, if you miss the days of smaller phones, the iPhone 13 mini is still the one to get. That was all for this video. Subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. See you in the next one.